Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And finally, after 7 or 8 years, Transmission Gully is finally open and Wellingtonians have a safe and reliable route out of town. So today I wanted to go and take a drive down it and let you know some of the history behind this great new Wellington road. The story of this road begins in 1919, where it was first proposed, because at the time this was the only way in and out of Wellington, the Paikakariki Hill Road. Today it makes for one of the best driving roads in the Wellington region. But of course, if you're trying to get 25,000 Wellington residents out of the city over this road, it's not going to happen every single day without a multitude of deaths and accidents and just general carnage. So in 1939, they built the Centennial Highway. And there is literally no one on it anymore because, of course, Transmission Gully is finished and no one has any interest in driving on this old garbage pile of a road. The problem with it is that, one, if there's a major accident, which has happened on multiple occasions, everybody stops and nobody gets to where they're going. And then the other issue is that to get to this road, you have to go through Paikakariki, which is 70, and Pukerua Bay, which is 50, and Mana and Parramatta, which are both 50, along with multiple sets of lights and multiple roundabouts. The only advantage it has is lovely views of the Bay of Water. So a new road was needed, and in 2014 the government at the time proposed the Transmission Gully link. They dug up some dirt somewhere in the hills above Porirua, and that signalled the start of 8 years of disaster. So with all of that boring history out of the way, let's jump on Transmission Gully and see what it's all about, eh? I promised you VTEC, there it is. Oh yes. Well, there we go. So if you joined from the existing State Highway 1, then you would be coming up here, and some of these cuttings they've made into the hills are pretty incredible. Like, look at that. Once upon a time that was a hill across there, and they just went and just cut a big V through it. Now the only frustrating part about this road that I don't quite understand is chip seal. And they went, oh, you know what, it's such a fantastic bit of road building material, let's make almost all of Transmission Gully out of it. Now this bit of the road I have already seen, because just up over there is the end of Takapu Valley Road, and I've stood up by that fence when it was completed, and I think I took a couple of photos up there, which is cool. And I got to see this incredible bridge that they've built. Now when you're driving on it, you can't really tell that it's actually a bridge, because I mean, it's so high up that it just looks like you're just driving along. But apparently they had to sort of roll it out in sections, which I found quite fascinating, where they'd put, you know, a 20-metre long bit and set it down and get it ready to go, and then they rolled out the next bit, dropped it in, rolled out the next bit and dropped it in. This was probably the bit where they had to do the least amount of earthworks, because you can see these cutaways in the hills. I mean, they're big, but they're not like huge, no more than any other road in the country. I'm just going to go through here because this does look fun. Underneath the tunnel, a little bit of VTEC. Oh yes. Now of course, I was promising you VTEC, and you're gonna get it. Oh yes, this is a lovely on-ramp. Look at this. Oh, that is just beautiful. Let's have a quick look at the Pauatahanui thing. These roundabouts here have been open for quite some time, so a lot of people have already seen these. I gotta say, roundabouts like this are quite fun, because you can just give it a bit of beans between them, get a little bit of turning angle going on here. Please turn off, please turn off, please turn off. Yes, you didn't indicate. What a buffoon. And now speed and power. Oh, these on-ramp. Look at the state of this. This is incredible. Dead straight. Oh, that is just lovely. You can see right up there where there's a V in the hills, and that is the Wainui Saddle, and that's what they've had to cut, like 100-metre high, just V's into the road. It's so good they've finally got this road finished, because now I can basically drive from my house onto the existing State Highway 1 and then just cruise along at 100 k's an hour on dual carriageway all the way until basically Otaki. Now another interesting part for me is that back when I was but a young lad, I used to do orienteering, and one of the courses that we had that I came to a couple of times was here at Battle Hill, and there was a tunnel underneath, and we had a few controls up on these hills that we had to go and punch, and then you went through a tunnel and we went into that forest over there looking for more controls and just generally getting lost. And at the time it was just like a gravel road like through the middle of here, and that obviously started but hadn't got anywhere close to this point. Now, my oh my, if you're like, you know, coming down one of those tracks right there and you want to get through it, it's like a flipping huge motorway to get across now. It's absolutely insane. I just find it funny, where statistically this will probably be one of the most resilient to crashes, if there is any, and probably one of the safest roads in the country, and yet it will be the most heavily policed. I can just cruise up here, 6th gear, on the cruise control. Yes, very nice. This bit here has got to be one of the most incredible civil engineering projects that's ever been undertaken in New Zealand. You can just see the state of the hill that they have just cut into on multiple levels to build this beautifully smooth road through. Another interesting point is they have a gravel trap here where, you know, obviously if a truck loses brakes down the hill, which is entirely possible, then they can hit the gravel trap and blast on through there. And there we go, that's now where the old Centennial Highway, or what is now State Highway 59, has joined up with us. So there we go, I hope you enjoyed that take on Transmission Gully from the VTEC perspective. If I were to have two complaints about the road, it's that, first of all, 50 k's an hour on the off-ramps. Like, do they really think that anyone is actually going to do 50? Of course not. It's idiotic. I was cruising along there at the same speed as everyone else, and they were all doing 60, 65, because that's the speed that feels most comfortable. It's like music. If you're playing to a metronome, and the metronome is set slightly too slow, you always just get a little bit ahead of the beat. To me, 50 k's an hour down those on-ramps just feels like a slow metronome, and all it's going to be is a speed trap magnet. And then the speed limit itself on the road, the fact that the Rumitaka Hill Road and Transmission Gully have the same speed limit just goes to show that speed limits aren't chosen because it's the safest speed to drive on a particular road. They're chosen completely arbitrarily. The Rumitaka Hill Road is the 3rd most dangerous road in the country, and yet, by law, you can travel the same speed on it as Transmission Gully. That just shouldn't happen. Either Transmission Gully needs to get faster, which it should, because no one does 100 on it, they all do 110, because again, that's what feels most comfortable. And Rumitaka Hill Road should really probably be dropped to 80, because all you need is one idiot to mess up an overtaking manoeuvre or come in too hot into a corner and go flying over the bank, and your road to zero is over. But my opinions of speed limits aside, in general, it's a great road, it's good to drive on, and I'm pleased that it's finally open. So there we go, thanks very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.